for the first time in 47 years, I am completely pain-free in my leg. Hi, my name is Sylvia Hendricks. I was born and raised in South Africa. I was 2 years old when I was diagnosed with tuberculosis in my right knee, and the specialist diagnosed me. They did a biopsy and I was diagnosed with tuberculosis, which usually is a lung disease. So my parents didn't believe the doctors. How could a 2-year-old have TB in her knee? I was healthy, nothing wrong with me. Suddenly my knee was swollen, so they decided to refuse treatment. The doctors told them that there would be a lot of side effects, and they just decided they're not going to give it to me. But my knee was very swollen. My whole life I was very sick. I was constantly in hospital with unexplainable fever. I was very skinny. I had all the symptoms, but I didn't cough up blood, so TB was never mentioned as an option again. So when I was 13 years old, my leg was bent so much that my foot didn't reach the ground anymore and I couldn't walk anymore. So they took me to a hospital where they put the leg, I was tied to the bed with intraction. I could not move on my back. They put about, I think it was 14 pounds that was on my leg, trying to pull it straight. After 4 months, they decided it was still about that much that needed to be stretched. So they decided it's taking too long, so they just put me in the OR and put me under, and they stretched the leg flat, tore all my muscles, and they put a skew in the cast, which made all the ligaments to tear. That was supposed to keep my knee in place. So after 1 month, they took the cast off, and the whole knee was loose. It was basically like that, and I could move it sideways like that. It was just a mush. It was so painful. Every month I came back, they would pull it back, push it back down, straighten it, and put it back in a cast for a whole year. And after the year that they took the cast off, my leg was so weak and there was nothing keeping my knee in place anymore, so I ended up on crutches. What happened one day, I walked with my daughter and my husband in the city, and there was a guy coming from the front, and he had 2 amputated legs, and he was walking on prosthetic legs, perfectly normal. And I said to my husband, why do I have to struggle like this walking with crutches if that guy can walk normal with amputated legs? I think I want him to cut it off. I think I'm done. And I went to see a doctor and I asked him if he could amputate my leg, and so that I can walk normal and enjoy my baby. So the doctor said I am too young. He said, I think you're too young to do that drastic. He said, why don't we try and do a knee replacement? So I went back to the doctor, and they did. The doctor told me that he's not sure what they're going to find when they open it up. So I might end up having an amputation. He'll have to see. So when I woke up, first thing I did in ICU, I looked if I could see my toes, because I knew if there was toes, he didn't amputate. And I still had my leg, and it was amazing there in ICU with all the drain pipes and stuff. I could finally lift my leg up for the first time in my life. It was quite a big moment. My whole family was there, and after recovery, I could finally walk. Kind of normal. It didn't really, it wasn't perfect, but it was better than what I had. I wasn't on crutches anymore, and I could enjoy my baby. But 7 months after the knee replacement, I started to develop a lump on the side of my leg, on my knee. It was about the size of a golf ball. I went to the doctor, and he said, well, it's just fluid, no big deal. They'll just, local anesthetic, they will just retract the fluid out of my knee. And while he had the syringe in there and pull it out, he looked at the color and he said, this is wrong, something's wrong. It was not the right color, so he said we'll have to do surgery and take the whole lump out and send it away for testing. 3 days later, the doctor called me and said, Sylvia, you need to come into the office right away. He said to me, Sylvia, you need to sit down. He said, I don't even know how to tell you this. He said, the test results came back, and it's TB. You had TB untreated in your knee for 28 years. This is not a normal leg. You cannot just go to any doctor. I needed someone that specialized in problems, because this is a big problem. It's not a normal leg. It's not a normal knee replacement. It was important for me, and I went to see a doctor from Fort Wayne, and he told me, he was an orthopedic surgeon, and he said, I know a doctor.
I'm Chris Johnson. I'm an orthopedic oncologist at Orthopedics Northeast. Orthopedic oncologist is an orthopedic surgeon who specializes in musculoskeletal tumors, so sarcomas and bone cancers that affect both bone and soft tissue. We specialize in limb salvage surgery, so removing cancers and tumors from people and while maintaining their legs and avoiding amputation. When Sylvia first came to me, she came with quite a remarkable history and story. She had an abundant amount of surgery to her knee, and she essentially couldn't walk or function with her knee. Her knee had extensive bone loss, and there was a lot of issues with her knee, and really a complex scenario. We were able to apply our orthopedic oncology principles to perform limb salvage and to attempt to save her leg and give her leg to walk on. We had met several times before surgery and really had a lot of complex discussions about the options that she had. And the options really included amputation versus a complex reconstruction, and over time we elected together to proceed with the limb salvage type surgery. And the surgery that she really had a complex surgery. She had an incision from her ankle to her hip practically, and required a revision of both the tibia and femoral side of her knee. She has a distal femur replacement and a proximal tibia replacement. Essentially, over half of her lower extremity is replaced with metal. And she's now walking remarkably well with very little pain, and her function has improved dramatically from where she was before surgery.
Now, my life, 6 months after surgery, I walk. I have a confidence that I don't think I've ever had. I'm excited to live again. I have my sparkle back. Or maybe the first time in my life that I have that sparkle. Yeah, pain-free at last.